I'm Gladys West. My father worked for the railroads, and my mother worked in the tobacco fields. I decided early that education would be my way out. I am an American mathematician known for my contributions to the mathematical modeling of the shape of Earth and the development of the satellite models that were eventually incorporated into the GPS.
All right.
I was born in Washington, D.C. My parents strongly valued education and encouraged me in school. When I joined MIT, I was only one out of 20 African Americans and the only one studying theoretical physics. In 2114, I was appointed, me, Dr. Shirley Ann Jackson, to co-chair of the President's Intelligence Advisory Board. I also served on the U.S. Secretary of State's International Security Advisory Board and the U.S. Secretary of Energy Advisory Board, and lastly, on the President's Council of Advisors on Science and Technology. I was also awarded the National Medal of Science by President Obama.
I was born Sabrina, the fifth child in my family, but I was the only one born free. My sister raised me after my parents passed away. After picking cotton in the field, I decided household work and cleaning after people would be easier. But my first husband took me away from that life. He died 2 years later. I met my second husband, Charles J. Walker, in St. Louis, and he worked in advertising. After years from suffering from scalp ailment, I started making my own hair products. I traveled and promoted specialized hair care for African American, and I became the first African American to be a self-made millionaire.
I was an American aviator and the first black woman to own a pilot license. Flying schools in the United States denied me, so I taught myself French and moved to France. I owned my aviation license in 7 months. I was one of 13 children, and I grew up in Atlanta, Texas, where my parents worked as sharecroppers. After my move to Chicago, I began listening to and reading stories about World War I pilots, which sparked my interest in aviation. I specialized in stunt flying and parachuting. In 1922, I became the first African American woman in America to make a public flight.
Hi, I am Michelle Obama. I am best known as the wife of the former U.S. President Barack Obama. Prior to my role as the First Lady, I was a lawyer, Chicago administrator, outreach worker. I graduated from Princeton to Harvard, and one of the lessons that I grew up with was to always stay true to yourself and never let what somebody else says distract you from your goals.
Great.
Have you ever heard of the Underground Railroad? My name is Harriet Tubman. I used the Underground Railroad to help African Americans escape from slavery. I knew that slavery is wrong, so I kept going to help others.
I
helped more than 300 people escape. I was
the conductor.
the conductor of the Underground Railroad. I never lost a passenger.
Great job.
My name is MARLEY. I was a famous Jamaican reggae singer, songwriter, and musician. My music tells stories of my home and the Rastafarian religion that I follow. I was born in poverty, but surrounding myself with music, family, and friends. I married Rita Anderson. We had 5 children. I was the first international superstar to have been born in poverty in a third world country.
I was born Marian CROAK in Pennsylvania, the odd girl in class. I have to give credit to my father who pushed me to pursue my passion for science through as many creative ways as possible. When I joined AT&T Laboratories as Dr. CROAK, I held various positions and was promoted several times. I hold over 200 patents for interventions. I am most famous for creating emojis that you use every day. I now work for Google, and my goal is to get internet into areas where there is none.
Good job.